Welcome to part 2 of creating deeper, more meaningful connections. Brené Brown defined connection as the energy that exists when people feel seen, heard, and valued. In the first video, we looked at being seen. In this video, we're going to address being heard. We're going to take a look at the impacts of not being heard, and we're going to do some tapping for that so that you can actually create deeper, more meaningful connections. Hi, I'm Rosanne Clay, helping you deliberately create a life you love. In this video, we're going to be looking at what it means to be heard. But to do that, we need to look at what it means to not be heard. And I love using myself to illustrate the point, so I'm going to give you 4 scenarios that made me realize that I had a real problem with this pattern of not being heard. So here's scenario 1. I'd be talking one-on-one with someone, and then I'd notice that their gaze would drift over to the conversation next to me, and before I knew it, I was talking to nobody. They had drifted off to another conversation and didn't come back to me. The second scenario, I'd be talking to a group, someone interrupts, and everyone's attention diverts to that person, but no one ever came back and asked me to finish off what I was saying. Scenario 3, a friend comes to me for advice, and I give it, and then they're quite dismissive about it, like, that's not really going to work for me. A few days later, another friend gives the exact same advice, and suddenly it's really plausible and feasible. Now, this 4th scenario is the one that really broke the camel's back, where I just went, oh my gosh, I have real issues about not being heard. Like, I have a major subconscious pattern here. And that was when people would tell me their stories, and they'd be sharing what they've been up to. They'd share what's been happening in their day, or what's been happening in their career, or what's been happening with their last year. And I would realize that I was not comfortable sharing my story. It didn't matter what I was doing, even if it was really interesting, and even if I was up to big stuff, I did not feel comfortable sharing what I had to say because I didn't think that I had any value to offer anyone. Now, if these scenarios resonate with you, keep listening. Most likely in your childhood years, you probably had parents or caregivers that didn't value what you had to say. And it's not that they didn't love you, but sometimes parents get busy and they just ignore you accidentally. The problem is it creates the subconscious belief that you're not worthy of being heard, you're not worthy of being listened to. Now, if you imagine the frustration of a 5-year-old not being heard when they have something really important that they want to tell their parent, that's the kind of frustration that you are carrying over into your adult years. So it should be no surprise that you're yelling at your partner, you're not listening to me, because they're not, because you have this subconscious belief that no one is listening to you, that you're not worthy of being heard. This type of frustration, when you feel like you're not heard, can take you down a path where you feel like you don't have a voice, or that your voice is strangled, and that can lead to hopelessness, whether that's in your romantic relationship, or with your friends, or at work, or even at an institutional level like with your government. But the bigger repercussion here is that you don't believe the universe is listening to you. So when you're sending out your prayers, your affirmations, your positive visualizations, your goals, your dreams, you don't believe that the universe is going to support you in those. Instead, you make up all sorts of reasons as to why you're not worthy of having those needs and wants and desires fulfilled. So what we really want is to feel valued. What we want is for people to care about what we have to say. And that comes from us caring about what we have to say. That comes from us believing that our opinions are valuable, that we matter. So in this tapping that we're going to do today, we're going to be looking at enhancing our belief that what we have to say matters. And what you'll find is, as you keep doing this tapping, people will start to listen to you. People will start wanting to hear what you have to say. And when that happens, you'll notice that you are able to listen better to others, and you're able to hear others. And in those moments, you're going to find you have deeper connections with people. Okay, so let's get tapping. Taking accountability for your own well-being, starting on the karate chop point. Even though I'm not heard, I deeply and completely love, honor, and forgive myself. Even though I'm not valued, no one wants to hear what I have to say. I choose to love, honor, and forgive myself. Even though I struggle to be heard, I choose to love, accept, and honor myself. Alright, tapping on the eyebrow point. I struggle to be heard. No one wants to hear what I have to say. I don't want to hear what I have to say. I guess maybe I'm not that interesting. Or maybe other people's lives just are interesting. Or maybe what I have to say just doesn't matter. At least that's how I feel sometimes. Logically, I know I do matter. Logically, I know that some people are listening. But more and more I've been noticing that I'm not being heard, that I'm not being listened to, that my advice doesn't matter, that my opinions don't matter, and even worse, that my stories don't matter. I feel like no one cares about what I have to say. And I'm really struggling with that. Alright, tapping on the gamut point. And I surrender all these thoughts and feelings to the highest energy for my greater good and the greater good of all those around me. Tapping on the karate chop point, even though I still have some of these thoughts and feelings, that I'm really not being heard. I choose to love myself, honor myself, and accept myself fully. Even though I still have some of these thoughts that tell me I'm not worthy of being heard, I choose to love myself, accept myself, and forgive myself completely. Even though I still have some of these fears about being heard and about being judged for what I say, I choose to honor myself, accept myself, love myself. It's hard. It's hard to say what I want to say. Often I feel so judged. Often I feel so uninteresting. Often I feel so unimportant. And so it's hard to express myself. It's hard to say what I want to say. Sometimes I feel like people will just criticize me if I do bother to step out, if I do bother to say something out loud. Sometimes I feel it's safer just to say nothing. Then I won't be judged as boring. Then I won't be judged as lame. Then I won't be judged as uninteresting or unimportant. But it's really hard. Because sometimes I feel like my voice is being strangled. Like I just can't express what I need to express. Sometimes I feel like my voice is lost in the crowd and no one's listening. And I'm just drowning in all these voices. And tapping on the karate chop, the gamut point. And I surrender all these thoughts and feelings to the highest energy for my greater good and the greater good of all those around me. I really want to be heard. I really want to be listened to. I know I've been struggling to be heard, but I'm open, very open, to being heard more. I'm open to being listened to more. I'm open to seeing how safe it is for me to be heard. I'm open to seeing how safe it is for me to be listened to. I'm going to open myself up more and more every day to being heard and being listened to. I'm going to open myself up more and more every day to being valued. And I surrender all these thoughts and feelings to the highest energy for my greater good and the greater good of all those around me. I really want to be heard. I really want to be valued. I really want to be listened to. I know I have things to say that are important and that matter. I know that I'm important and that I matter. I know that the universe values me, and the universe values what I have to say and what I have to think. And so I'm open to seeing it myself. I'm open to noticing more and more how I am valued. I'm open to noticing where I am listened to and places where I am heard. I'm open to being heard more and more. And I surrender all these thoughts and feelings to the highest energy for my greater good and the greater good of all those around me. Alright, and shaking that off, stretching up, taking a deep breath, and letting that all out, shaking your hands, allowing all those toxins to flush out of your body, because your body's going to do some reprocessing and realigning of energies to get all those toxins moving, all those limiting beliefs about not being heard, not being valued. They're going to get shifted out of your body. So drink lots of water, get lots of rest, and in the next tapping we're going to look at tapping in the positive. Okay, so tapping on the karate chop point. I want to be heard. I deserve to be heard. I deserve to be listened to. I am worthy of being listened to. I am worthy of being heard. I deserve to be listened to. I am worthy of being listened to. It's safe for me to be listened to. It's safe for me to express what I want to say. People want to hear what I have to say because they recognize the value in me. Because I recognize the value in me. Because I see the value in myself. Each and every day, I am seeing more and more the value in me. Each and every day, I am seeing more and more the value in myself. Each and every day, I am allowing myself to be heard. Each and every day, I am allowing myself to be listened to more and more. And that feels good. That feels great. I'm open, very open to trusting the universe is listening to me. And that feels great. Okay, stretching up, shaking that off. If you still have some zing around not being heard, repeat the tapping daily. The more you feel heard, the more you're going to be able to hear. And that's going to create that easy exchange between you and another, which will allow you to create deeper, more intimate, more meaningful connections with people. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video and you found it valuable, please hit the like button so that I can share it with others. Sending you so much love and light on your journey. Bye for now.